Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Us today, a little stakes recap as usual, and then a little bit of handicapping towards the end of the bottom of the hour, and then we'll kind of abbreviate because again, it's an early post time at Aqueduct today, 11:50. So we'll wind things up so we can get to the pregame show to get some ideas from Andy and Anthony looking at Aqueduct this afternoon. And again, with the early post time of 11:50, we'll abbreviate a little bit, but that gives us plenty of time to look at the stakes action from yesterday, which was really nice. Great stakes card at Fairgrounds. We had Brendan Walsh on yesterday talking a little Maxfield and his comeback. We'll take a look at that and much, much more. We'll also do a little recap of the two mandatories yesterday. There was a mandatory in the Rainbow at Gulfstream and a mandatory last night on the sulky side, Woodbine Mohawk in the jackpot high five. The 11th race went off a little after 11 o'clock. I'll touch on that a little bit as well. I put tickets together for both of them. The Mohawk ticket with Woodbine ticket was the right idea. The Gulfstream ticket was a little tough, but we'll talk, as I say, about those as we move along as well. All right, let's kick off with some of the stakes recap action at Aqueduct yesterday. The stakes action was the Queens County 3-year-olds and up, going a mile and an eighth. I took a little pop with Empty Tomb at 7-1. I thought that horse might be a little bit interesting. Just never really got into it. Empty Tomb's going to be the 3 horse. Backside of the Moon, however, Jose Lezcano pretty much said, I'm going to jump out and say, catch me if you can. And he did and continued to open up here in the stretch. I had that one right underneath. Musical Heart was in the 3rd spot for me, and that horse runs 2nd. But a pretty clear-cut winner here with Backside of the Moon getting it done for Rudy Rodriguez and Mike Rapoli. Turns out to be a clever claim for that crew as they claimed the horse 2 starts back for $62,500. They followed up with a win in an optional $62,500, and then they followed up with a nice little stakes win in $100,000 on Saturday. So again, a nice little clever claim by Rodriguez and Mike Rapoli leading into the stakes win in the Queens County yesterday at Aqueduct for Backside of the Moon. And again, crafty ride from Jose Lezcano saying, catch me if you can. And they couldn't. And in fact, as I say, opened up in the stretch, the eventual chart margin there was lengths. So nice effort yesterday at Aqueduct by Backside of the Moon. Mr. Prospector at Gulfstream, one of the races we looked at, stakes preview, Mike Callahan and I, and Mike liked Sleepy Eyes Todd. I had Sleepy Eyes Todd at the bottom of my mix. This had to help the Rainbow payoff because I'm sure a lot of people were singling and leaning on Forensic Fire. He went off as the 5-2 favorite, but Sleepy Eyes Todd does get it done. Sleepy Eyes Todd is going to be the number 8 horse. Forensic Fire, again, the 5-2 favorite, the number 9 horse. Mind Control, the 12 gets up. I didn't quite know what to do with Mind Control, but he gets up to run 3rd at 12-1. Winds of Change, 38-1. 4th. Diamond Oops, who I use, 7-2 second choice. 7 horse. You can see the chiclet there. Diamond Oops, disappointing. Never really got into the mix here. He was the defending champion of this race. But Sleepy Eyes Todd, it was a nice performance under Tyler Gaffleone to get it done. The chart margin wound up to be a half a length over Forensic Fire. And they came out of the race and said, they said they've always thought this was a good horse. They mentioned aiming for the Kentucky Derby with this horse last year and then had a couple of hiccups and couldn't wind up there. But they said they've always liked the horse, had confidence in the horse. This race had to put this one probably over $750,000 or in that ballpark. Came into this with just under 690,000, and so you put the 60 right in the ballpark again of $750,000 in earnings and 15 career starts. So nice performance by Sleepy Eyes Todd. And again, they came out of this and said, as I noted,
Here's the 11th
they're
race from
very
Mohawk
happy,
Park,
the
picking up
folks,
speed.
trainer
They
and
are
owners
set
and
for a
whatnot,
start.
very happy with the horse, have been throughout the career, but now they're going to take a shot, it sounds like, at the Pegasus coming up next. So nice win for Sleepy Eyes Todd. Gulfstream's other stakes race yesterday was the Via Borghese. I liked the traipsing, and it looked like traipsing would have a little pace advantage and maybe take them all the way around. Went out, set the early lead, but could not hold on late. Traipsing for Christophe Clement and Junior Alvarado. Traipsing is the number 2 horse, and as you can see, gets a little bit swallowed up, gets passed by Always Shopping, and that one just goes on to win, chart margin of 3 lengths. Subsequently, Great Island, the number 9, will cause a little traffic. You might have seen it there with the 4, and so it came under the wire, 8-9-4-2. Great Island runs second. Cap de Crew, who I thought was interesting at maybe a little bit of a price for Todd Pletcher. And Cap de Crew, again, comes under the wire third at 10-1, but winds up getting moved because the number 9 Great Island did come out under Tyler Gaffleone, John Velasquez on Cap de Crew, and Cap de Crew had to just a little bit, but it was enough that the steward switched up the second and didn't affect the winner at all. The winner was off to the races and won again by a chart margin of 3 lengths with that stuff happening behind. But they did flip-flop second and third. So it came under the wire 8-9-4-2, but subsequently the official results 8-4-9-2 with Cap de Crew completing a nice little exacta there. You got $58 with, again, a couple of horses I had down in the second and third spots, who I had on top, winds up running fourth in here after, again, leading for much of the way, but then getting swallowed up a little bit in the stretch. All right, let's move on to, again, the nice stakes action at Fairgrounds yesterday, and we'll start right out with that Tenacious, the highlight on the card, which, as I say, we had Brendan Walsh on yesterday talking about the return of Maxfield. 3 starts coming into yesterday, 3 wins. Missed the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year with a little bit of a ding in the ankle. With the Kentucky Derby being pushed back this year, I think there was some hope and thoughts that maybe we can still have a Derby contender. And they came back in May in the Matt Win this year off the promising 2-year-old season and won the Matt Win. And then, as I say, with the delayed Kentucky Derby, that was in their thoughts, obviously, but another setback, another injury, had to have surgery. So now this was only career start number 4 late in the 3-year-old season, but kind of sets up what maybe we can look for Maxfield in the handicap division as a 4-year-old next year. Maxfield is going to be the number 6 horse here. Sat second much of the trip behind Cool Bobby, and then takes the lead and wins by a chart margin of 2.5 as the 1-2 favorite. Sonneman runs second, the number 5. Dinar runs third, but really no challenge here in the stretch for Maxfield. Nice looking return effort for that one. And again, now sets him up to, move into the 4-year-old season and be an interesting little player on the 4-year-old side of things. Interesting player in the handicap division because, again, on January 1st, the calendar changes and these guys all become, technically speaking, 1 year older. So we will see what's in store. Brendan Walsh kind of hinted at this when he talked with us yesterday, but validated it or confirmed it after the race that really they didn't have any plan set in stone going forward. And excuse me here, I'm just kind of looking to see if there are some some buyers up. Backside of the Moon had a 105 yesterday for Backside of the Moon. Maxfield, nice 98 buyer in that win yesterday. But again, Brendan Walsh with us kind of hinted at it yesterday after the race, said everything is still on the table as far as the next start. And it was understandable. And he said it yesterday, we're just looking at this race with a horse that has had some setbacks. Let's just get this one under the belt and then we'll look forward. But clearly it was a nice win, sets him up again for that 4-year-old season. So we'll see where they go next. But again, all options open at this point. Going back to the 2 Gulfstream, right? Sleepy Eyes Todd, a 100 buyer, and Always Shopping 88. But the 105 for Backside of the Moon, again, crafty claim for Mike Rapoli there to pick that one up and get the nice win with the triple-digit buyer in the follow-up to the claim. All right, let's go back and work our way backwards stakes-wise at Fairgrounds. And just a little bit earlier than the Tenacious was the Blushing KD. It's the Fillies and Mayors on the grass at 1 mile and a 16th. I was watching the paddock commentary, and our friend and colleague Brian Edo was sitting with Joe Christofect, and they were kind of looking at the race and thinking, Delica maybe has the pace advantage in here, and it may be just as simple as that when you kind of look at the race, look at some of the scratches, a couple of the scratches there were in there, and sure enough, Delica gets out to the lead, takes him on a marriage all the way around. At a decent little 5-2 is the second choice. Delica, the number 3, Curlin's Journey, a 31-1. The 5 completes the exacta. Secret Message was the 8-5 favorite. The number 8 can do no better than third. But as I say, Delica kind of took the lead early, took the initiative under Miguel Mena, and took them all the way around. No real threat here in the stretch. I mean, if you had Delica, you kind of had to feel pretty good all the way around the Fairgrounds course yesterday and picked up your $7.20. The exacta with the 31 to 1 shot underneath. For $1, you got $96. If you liked Curlin's Journey, and Curlin's Journey coming off a win at Remington, playable. Won last time at Remington at 5-1, so you're getting 31-1 here. Did look like the horse was stepping up a little bit against these and probably would have to improve a little bit, but not significantly. So playable, certainly a playable horse. And again, if you put those two together for $1, you got an exacta that was just a little under $100. So nice result there for folks who saw that in their crystal ball. I like Delica. The underneath horse, not so much so. But as I say, it wasn't a horse that you could draw a line through by any means. All right, let's go to the Diliberto Memorial, also on the card yesterday on the nice day of stakes action at the Fairgrounds. And favorite here was Spectacular Gem, the number 11 horse. Coming off a third-place finish at Keeneland last time, but number-wise did seem to be the horse that you might have wanted to tilt towards. But this was a nice field. I mean, you had tenfold in here for Steve Asmussen trying the turf. Tenfold, the number 10, does no better than 6th, however. But the favorite, Spectacular Gem, can do no better than 5th. It winds up to be a little bit of an upset. Logical Myth under the biscuit. Adam Biscuits gets it done for trainer Joe Sharp, who is having a very good meet down there early in the meet. Joe Sharp and a Logical Myth, 15-1 on the morning line, went up at 9-1, gets it done by a head in a little bit of a blanket finish here. Cross border at 3-1, the second choice, runs second, runs third, running fourth is Sailing Solo. But as I say, a little bit of a blanket finish, certainly amongst the top two with a head, but then it's a head, neck, the margins there in the first 4 spots. But Logical Myth, as I say, $21.40 for Joe Sharp and Adam Beschizza. But again, Joe Sharp having a pretty good meet. Keep that in mind. Early in the meet, you got to watch jockeys and trainers as maybe they get a little hot at a particular meet and are worth watching, at least for that period. Sometimes they can be a little streaky and get hot and cool down, but you got to jump on when the going is good and when the hot is heat. And it looks like that may be the case right now, at least early in the meet for Joe Sharp, relatively in the meet. The Sugar Bowl, we talked about this one on the stakes preview with Mike Callahan as well. We both kind of like Gagetown in here. And I thought Gagetown ran decently. Kind of took a while to get moving in the stretch. Gagetown's going to be the number 5 horse. Clearly, the horse to beat was going to be Quick Tempo, and I had that one right underneath. Quick Tempo was coming out of stakes performances where the horse ran decently. Last time was second in the Nyquist behind Highly Motivated, had won an allowance, 2 starts back up at Park. So again, was coming in good form, was clearly going to be the one to beat. Went off at 4-5, and Quick Tempo, the number 1, will be the winner. But again, Gagetown is the number 5, and you can see that one on the rail sitting 4th right now, and just can't get Florentino just kind of can't get him motivated. And eventually, as they get late in the stretch, does kind of get going. No threat to the winner, really, but winds up an okay second. This was only the second career start for Gagetown, Brad Cox trainee. So might benefit from this, just more experience. And as I say, I thought it was an okay second place finish, particularly given the circumstances. Second start of the career, jumps into a little stakes race for the second start. So I like Gagetown going in. I'm not swayed, but this was a 6 furlong race. And as far as these horses in a couple of weeks becoming 3-year-olds and what the future is, will they continue to be sprinters, stakes quality sprinters, or will they move on to stretch out? We shall see. But Gagetown, I think, one worth watching. Quick Tempo, though, obviously with the 4 starts already, the experience, the stakes experience, and now a stakes win on the resume. That one clearly worth watching. Twilight Blue, I had down in the 3rd spot. Joe Sharp had finished 2nd last time to Mandaloon, and winds up running 3rd and was right up in the mix. Gagetown, as I say, just late got going and got up to get that 2nd place finish, but Twilight Blue runs 3rd. So the top 3 all interesting to watch going forward, at least on the sprint side. We'll see what happens if and when they decide to stretch out going down the road. And finally, we'll take a look at Fairgrounds at the Letellier Memorial. Talked with Brendan Walsh yesterday, and I was interested to see what Moonswag would do. Had moved into the Brendan Walsh barn out of a couple of wins at Albuquerque Downs, and we showed the horses win in a stakes race at Albuquerque back in the middle of September when we had Brendan Walsh on, and it was a nice grinding move on the outside to get up to win. The buyer numbers were a little bit light, though, but I still thought a 10-1 Moonswag might be a little bit interesting. Moonswag's the number 3 horse here, though, and can do no better than 4th in the field of 7 at 10-1. It winds up being the horse that was clearly the one to beat, Joyce Rocket for Steve Asmussen, coming out of a win in a stake up at Keeneland. So off of that, the horse took all the action at 4-5. Second choice was Mariah's Princess at 5-2. The one horse does wind up running 2nd. Charlie's Penny runs 3rd as the 3rd choice. So the betting public nails it with the top 3 choices running 1, 2, 3. And Moonswag, well beaten 4th. I thought he'd be interesting, though, or she would be interesting on the move from Albuquerque with numbers that were a little bit light. But I thought, that was a pretty good looking win, though. I'm going to be interested to kind of follow Moonswag a little bit and see where Brendan Walsh elects to go, and if that one can kind of validate the 2 nice performances down at Albuquerque, moving in against a little bit tougher company. Couldn't do it yesterday, but that was a pretty salty group. Joyce Rocket and Mariah's Princess already had shown a little bit of ability. Certainly Joyce Rocket. Nice little 2-year-old filly. Again, 2-year-old sprinting filly at this point for Steve Asmussen. Tried a mile in the Frazette up at Belmont and wound up, after showing early speed, running 4th. Ran a good 2nd in a turf stakes race up at Saratoga, the Bolton Landing prior. So distance, given what we saw in the Frazette, maybe a question mark, but that was only one race, and it was a 1-turn mile. But certainly turf in the future. The options seem, I won't say limitless necessarily, but seem potentially very, very good for Joyce Rocket. And we'll see what Steve Asmussen does next with that one. All right, going to take a look finally at we just took a look at 2 2-year-old races, the Sugar Bowl and the Letellier for the boys and the girls on the 2-year-old side at Fairgrounds. This time of year, 2-year-olds always interesting, and no exception when we look out at Southern California at the Los Al Futurity. A field of 6 in here. Spielberg, surprisingly, not well, I say surprisingly. Red Flag coming out of a stakes win over Spielberg, probably deserved the favoritism. So Red Flag does go off as the 4-5 choice. But I say surprisingly with Spielberg because it's Baffert, 2-year-old, Los Al Futurity. And when it comes down to crunch time, it is Spielberg. But in a ding-dong battle, they come down the stretch. The rank outsider in the field is the Great One, the 3-horse at 33-1. Spielberg has to grind this one down. And as they come under the wire, this was one of those photos. I was in here doing OTB Live yesterday, and I thought, I got this. And I think, and then the more they showed the replays, I thought, I'm not sure. This was a ding-dong. Look at Spielberg. Doesn't look like he's going to do it, doesn't, and then gets a little momentum. But as they come to the wire, it is oof. But it does wind up to be Spielberg by a nose. Second choice at 9-5. Getting it done under Flavian Prat, the Great One second, Petruccio third, and favored Red Flag. Disappointing fourth in there. But Spielberg, a horse they paid $1 million for, Starlight Racing, Madiket, some notables that have been involved in some other prominent horses in the Bob Baffert barn over the past few years. They pay $1 million. Horse hasn't quite lived up to it yet. Jay Privman wrote a nice column where he's playing on the Spielberg name. Yeah, here we go with and again, I was watching these slow motion replays yesterday and still felt like I'm not sure, but it did wind up to be when they developed the photo, Spielberg. But as I say, Jay Privman wrote some kind of like, he wasn't living up to his marquee value and things like that. And at $1 million, 6 starts, couple of wins, couple of seconds, and a third with the fourth place finish in the Bob Hope last time. It was a little questionable about the $1 million, but now it's put nice grade 2 on the resume and becomes a nice 3-year-old potentially for Baffert going forward. It was interesting reading the follow-up to this race in the Daily Racing Form. I didn't realize it going in, and I won't put it up there with Woody Stevens and his Belmont streak. But according to the Daily Racing Forum article, since the futurity has moved from its traditional Hollywood futurity home at Hollywood Park over to Los Al, Bob Baffert has won all 7 of the editions over at Los Al. He had to work for that one yesterday, but that, as I said, not putting it up there necessarily with Woody Stevens, but it's a pretty good streak nonetheless. All right, I said I would also touch on the mandatories yesterday. Mandatory at Gulfstream. Boy, they put a lot of money in the pool. $5 million after the carryover that was $800,000 and some. But they put a lot of money in the pool yesterday. I put together a ticket that I think was about $57 maybe. And I said, I would have been tempted maybe to go a little deeper, not much. But I thought the last leg was very, very tough. And it was kind of validated by the way it played out. Not a big price in the last leg. I mean, it was only $12.60. It was the longest price of the mix. It was a really havable sequence. But as I say, that last one was maybe the tough race. Again, only paid $12.60, but it was the 5th favorite in a field of 10. So it was kind of validated by how deep you would have had to gone, in comparison to the odds. At 5-1, Kentucky Pharaoh completed the sequence. And again, it wasn't impossible. And it was also a race where you looked at it and you thought, maybe I will have to go a little deeper here. So if you pick some spots and you spend a little money on the ticket, maybe got some friends together, you certainly, again, the $12 horse was not out of the question. And as I say, the sequence wasn't crazy. $12.20 in the next to last leg, third shortest price in a field of 12. Second favorite at $7 wins the third to the last leg. $7 favorite wins $8.40 as the third longest price in a field of 6. Third shortest price, I should say, in a field of 6. And then the favorite won the opening leg. So we had a couple of favorites, but $7, $8 and change, $7, $7.40, $12.20, $12.60. Again, really havable sequence. I think I went 3 for 6 with my ticket. And again, I was tempted to go a little bit deeper, but I just, that last leg, and I think I would have had to juice up the ticket significantly to get that one in there. But again, what was a very havable ticket, no horse over $12.60, 4 horses in the $7 to $8 range. And for 20 cents, 20-cent increment, it paid $7,363. So again, those carryovers, mandatory pay plays are worth taking a look at. You could have wound up with a nice day. I mean, it's one of those days that if you get a few of your friends to click in, you get 4 friends to click in $100 each, and your $100 got you $1,500 back once you split that up 4 ways. So again, you could have played it that way as well, and had a nice ticket that clearly could have used those kind of horses. Last night at Woodbine Mohawk, they had the mandatory pay in the jackpot high 5, and I put a little ticket together and kind of won the battle, lost the war. My ticket I thought was the right idea. I just didn't have it underneath. But what I did with my ticket, I had 3 horses in the top 2 positions, the same 3 horses. So I kind of had to have a good opinion about the exacta. And then I spread a little deeper in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th positions. And sure enough, the 2 horses I used, I should note, there was a scratch of one of the 3 horses I used. I updated the ticket over on Twitter. And as I say, I wound up having 2 of my top 3 run 1st and 2nd. So I hit those top 2 spots, 3 deep in the first 2. And then the horse that ran 3rd, I did not have on my ticket. I was right, and here we see it. And I used both the 5 and the 7 in the top 2 spots. You can see the 8 chiclet on the outside. I did not use the 8, and that one closes stoutly to kind of be in a group here that they had to separate. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And the 8 just gets up to run 3rd. And I didn't use that one. Now, I was thinking, could I have made a bigger pyramid underneath? I probably could have. I don't think I would have used the 8 in the 3rd spot. And just kind of missed. Otherwise, 5, 7 I had, and then 2 of mine ran 4th and 5th. I didn't use the 8. Now, if I'd done a deeper pyramid underneath, would have bounced up the cost of the ticket, not too much. And I might have put the 8 in the 4th and the 5th spots. I don't think I would have used the 8 in the 3rd spot, though. So even with kind of 20/20 hindsight, with the 8 getting up in the mix, probably wouldn't have had the ticket regardless. But it was fun, and I'm just trying to. There are the PPs. The 8. And I looked at the 8, and the 8 class-wise was a good fit and was 4-1 on the morning line. I left the 8 out of my mix, but it was one that I took a look at. In the last race, it had kind of clunked a little bit, last couple of races. So I was willing to leave that one off. But at 4-1 and with the class as compared to the rest of these, I looked. And so I could have seen putting, as I say, in maybe the 3rd or 4th spots. I don't know whether I would have put it in the 4th and the 5th spots. I don't know whether I would have put it in the 3rd spot, though. That's where it wound up. But all of that said and done, if you did play the high 5, and again, you could have made a crafty ticket and done something similar to me, used 3 horses in the top 2 spots and then spread out a little underneath, and it was playable and havable. And the super high 5 yesterday, again, at a 20-cent increment, paid over $4,000. So there you see it right there, your payoffs in the 11th yesterday at Woodbine Mohawk with the mandatory for the jackpot high 5. All right, I'm going to step back because I see they are underway already in the pregame portion of the day for NYRA. So I'm going to send it over to Andy and Anthony so you can get some thoughts on this afternoon's card at Aqueduct. I will be back with my own thoughts, of course, in probably about an hour or so, 11:50 post time at Aqueduct. We'll jump in, as I say, maybe a little over an hour to kick things off at Aqueduct and more on this Sunday afternoon. Into Christmas week we are, so hopefully everybody's having a happy time. It's going to be a white Christmas. I don't know whether you're happy about that or not, but it is going to be a white Christmas. There's no denying. There's no getting rid of what we have on the ground now. All right, once again, they're kicking things off the NYRA pregame show, so I'll wrap it up for this edition of Racing Across America. But again, be back in about an hour or so with OTB Live for a Sunday afternoon. Stay tuned. Good luck.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.